My name is Kathy. I'm a 33-year-old single woman who works as a freelance web designer. My job only requires a laptop, so I work from home at my own pace. Life was going smoothly until my parents disrupted it. 2 years ago, while I was working, my parents suddenly visited. They looked around my house and started talking. "Mom, this house is so big, it looks like we could live here too." "Dad, exactly. There's even a spare room. Kathy doesn't need such a nice house all to herself." Without asking me, they decided they would move in. I immediately spoke up. "Wait, I don't want to live with you guys." Dad turned red with anger and shouted, "This house was originally your uncle's, but you took it over for yourself. We're moving in this weekend, and that's final." The house belonged to my uncle, who was very fond of me. He let me live there, and even told me I could use it as I pleased. The title was still under his name. My parents' old house had fallen into disrepair and needed expensive renovations they couldn't afford, so they sold their house and decided to move into mine without even asking for my consent. I didn't want to leave them homeless, so I reluctantly let them move in. But from the moment they arrived, things went downhill. My parents constantly criticized me. "Mom, Kathy, you're over 30. When will you get married?" Me, "I'm happy focusing on my work right now." "Dad, keep saying that, and you stay single forever. Learn something from your sister." I replied, "Her marriage isn't going that well, is it? I'm fine with how I live." That's when Mom butted in. "Don't talk badly about your sister. At least she's married and works for a company. All you do is play on your computer. Are you even making money legally?" This accusation made me furious. I'm earning a decent living doing legitimate work. But they dismiss me, calling me the opposite of my sister. My parents always compared me to my sister, Sandy. Sure, Sandy worked for a company, but it was just a temporary office job. I didn't look down on temps, but I earned far more than she did. Still, my parents' constant criticism hurt, especially since they didn't seem to understand my work-from-home career. One evening, as I was making dinner for my Everado parents, the doorbell rang. To my surprise, it was Sandy, carrying a mountain of luggage. "Sandy, what's going on?" I asked. "Long time no see, Kathy. This is sudden, but I'll be living here from now on," she replied casually. "Ah, living here? Since when?" I stammered, completely confused. "Oh, didn't Mom and Dad tell you? I got divorced," she said matter-of-factly. Without waiting for my response, Sandy went upstairs and took over an empty room. I tried to argue, but my parents sided with her. I couldn't stop it, and from that moment, my stress levels skyrocketed. Sandy had quit her job after her divorce. Instead of looking for work, she spent her days gossiping with our mother, mostly about me. One day, I overheard them while I was cooking. "Sandy, Mom, isn't this dress cute?" "Mom, oh, yes, you're so pretty, it'll suit you perfectly." "Sandy, don't you think so, too? It's not something plain Kathy would wear, right?" "Mom, well, Kathy is a bit dull. That's why she can't get hired anywhere. All she does is sit at home playing on her computer." "Sandy, Mom, you're so blunt, but true." Their comments stung, but I didn't react. I knew they wanted me to snap, so I stayed silent, bottling up my frustration. One day, a friend of mine had a litter of puppies, and I decided to adopt one. I named him Muffin, a little black chihuahua with big, adorable eyes. Every time he looked at me and wagged his tail, my heart melted. Muffin became my source of comfort in an otherwise stressful household. Owning a chihuahua had been my dream since childhood. Working from home can feel lonely, so I thought a puppy would bring some much-needed joy. When I brought Muffin, a little black chihuahua, I happily introduced him. "From now on, you're Muffin." I didn't ask my family for their opinion before adopting Muffin. After all, this is my house, and I would handle all of Muffin's expenses, so I saw no reason for them to complain. As expected, when I brought Muffin home, my family started complaining. "Mom, we didn't hear anything about you getting a dog." "Sandy, dogs smell, don't they? I hate odors." Dad, you should have consulted us first. We didn't approve of this. First of all, Muffin wasn't a random stray, adopted him from a friend. Second, I'll take care of all his expenses. What I choose to do in my house is my business. If you don't like it, you're free to leave. Though they protested at first, within hours, Muffin's cuteness won them over. They were all fussing over him. Aren't you the cutest? Are you mommy's little baby? Or daddy's? Or your big sister's? Their anger disappeared like magic, and the house became much calmer, at least for a while. One day, while I was running errands, my sister Sandy called, shouting, "Come home now." "What's wrong?" I asked, confused. "Muffin peed on my clothes. What if they smell?" I sighed. "Just wash them, and it'll be fine. Isn't it your fault for leaving your clothes on the floor?" "What? My fault?" "No, it's because of your poor training," she snapped. When I returned, Sandy was fuming. She threw the soiled clothes at me and demanded, "You're paying for cleaning costs." I refused. "Why should I? You didn't take Muffin for a walk like you said you would, and you left your clothes on the floor." "Shut up. It's your fault for bringing this stupid dog into the house. What are you going to do about it?" I replied, "Isn't it unfair to call Muffin stupid because of one little accident? You seemed to love him just fine before." But Sandy continued blaming me, and soon my parents joined in. "Kathy, you should at least apologize to Sandy," they said. "This is all because of Muffin," Mom added. Frustrated, I tried to explain, "Muffin is a puppy, like a baby. He'll make mistakes. Can't you forgive him once in a while?" Sandy wasn't having it. "Kathy, you made the right choice by staying single. If you ever became a mother, I doubt you'd raise a decent child." That was it. I couldn't believe her words. "You're crossing the line," I said firmly. But Sandy, fueled by anger, pointed at me and yelled, "I've had enough. I don't need you or this dumb dog in this house. Get out." I was stunned. "What? You heard me. Get out. We don't need a freeloading, home-working loser here." When my sister called me a home-working freeloader, I couldn't believe it. Who did she think was paying for all the household expenses? It was me. As I stood there, stunned, my parents joined in. "That's right, Kathy. Leave this house. Your presence makes us miserable. You're a jinx." Hearing them chant "Get out" over and over, my patience finally snapped. "That's it. I've had enough," I shouted. I packed my things, took Muffin, and left the house. As I was leaving, my sister sneered, "This is all your fault. If you just obeyed me, none of this would have happened." Suppressing a grin, I left. I had a plan. They didn't know it, but their actions had sealed their fate. A few days later, my sister called in a panic. "Kathy, help! The house. What happened to the house?" I asked, feigning concern. "We've been told we have to leave by the end of the month," she cried. "Oh, is that so?" I replied calmly. "So, what's the problem?" "What do you mean? What's the problem? Why do we have to leave?" she demanded. "Well, I've decided to sell the house," I said casually. There was a pause, then Sandy stammered, "What, you don't have the authority to sell it?" "Oh, but I do," I said. "The house officially became mine last month." I explained that my uncle had transferred the house to me. He had encouraged me to take control of my life and get away from my ungrateful family. Sandy was in disbelief. "You can do this. Even if the house is yours, how could you sell it so easily?" I replied, "I wasn't planning to, but after you all kicked me and Muffin out, I realized I didn't owe you anything. So I consulted Uncle, and he fully supported my decision." Over the phone, I could hear my parents panicking in the background. They began begging, "Kathy, don't do this. We have nowhere else to go. This is unthinkable. You can't do this to your own family." I stayed firm. "Respect? What respect have you shown me? You've always looked down on me, constantly comparing me to Sandy. And who do you think has been paying for everything these past few years? I only let you stay because you had nowhere else to go. And this is how you repay me by treating me and Muffin like nuisances and kicking us out. Unbelievable." They had no response. I didn't stop there. "Trying to make yourselves happy by driving out the rightful owner is shameless. You people belong in hell." Hearing my anger, my father pleaded, "Please, Kathy, we're sorry. help us, but I was done. I don't care, fend for yourselves, you idiots. And with that, I hung up, finally free of my toxic family. I hung up the phone with a loud click and immediately blocked all my family members. Muffin, sensing my frustration, let out a worried little woof. I picked him up and held him close. I'm sorry for shouting, Muffin. It's all okay now. I'll protect you from now on. I was so relieved to have taken Muffin away from that toxic environment where they treated him poorly. As for my family, they were forced to leave the house at the last minute, with my father's small income and both my mother and sister unemployed. Their lives have become much harder. According to rumors, my parents are constantly nagging my sister to find a job, and their relationships are falling apart. I don't care how they're living now, but it's clear their quality of life has plummeted since I left. It's true I reap what you sow. They got what they deserved. Meanwhile, I'm living a peaceful and fulfilling life with Muffin in a cozy, pet-friendly apartment. I come work whenever I want, spend my earnings however I like, and there's no one to criticize me anymore. Muffin, let's go to the dog park today, I said cheerfully. Wolf, Muffin wagged his tail happily. He seemed so much livelier now that we're free from all the noise and drama. I'm determined to protect Muffin and make sure our life stays as peaceful and happy as it is now.